Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Caitanya Caritāmrta audio class. Thank you for joining. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuro Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnava श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाशान्त्यदेशतारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are discussing from Chaitanya Charitāmrta and we are on Madhya lila, chapter 9. Chapter 9 is entitled The Travels of Lord Chaitanya. So as we are discussing in the last few classes, few chapters, we discussed Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after taking sannyas on the request of his mother Shachi Devi, he shifted to Jagannath Puri. There, all the devotees, they would come every year. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after staying in Jagannath Puri for some time, he wanted to go to South India. And as soon as he spoke this to Sarabham Bhattacharya and all the other devotees, they were very heartbroken. And everybody was telling, please take me also with you. I'll help you. Nityananda was saying, I know all the South India places. So Mahaprabhu, he found faults that, oh, Nityananda, you broke my danda. Jagadananda, he wants to give me sense gratification. This Mukunda, he suffers when I do austerity. So all these people, they are not suitable. Then Mahaprabhu takes, on the request of all the devotees, he takes Kal Krishnadas. Sarabham Bhattacharya tells that please meet Ramananda Rai. Ramananda Rai ache Godavari tire adhikari hoye teho Vidyanagare. Shudra Vishay Jnane Upeksha na kariba amara vachane tare avashya miliba. Please meet Ramananda Rai. He is the only one qualified to be with you. Don't think he is a governor. He is a Vishay. He is a great Rasik Bhakta. Mahaprabhu, he reaches the banks of Godavari river. He meets with Ramananda Rai at Kobur. Wonderful discussion happened the entire 8th chapter. Then after spending few days, Mahaprabhu left. And in this 9th chapter, which is entitled Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's travels to the holy places. So we heard till verse number 43 how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was going to so many holy places. On the way, he defeated the Buddhists, and that's what we'll be discussing today. So far, he went and he chanted and sang the glories of the Lord. Mahaprabhu, Kaviraj Goswami tells that the pattern was the same. Wherever Mahaprabhu would go, he would chant, he would dance, he would transform villages after villages. And this entire South India, which was full of all the various philosophies, They were like crocodiles. Mahaprabhu delivered all of them, made them devotees. Mahaprabhu was chanting, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava Rakshamam, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava Pahi Mam. Mahaprabhu was singing and dancing and going to all the places. He went to Gautami Ganga, then from there he went to Trimanda. From there he went to Dhundirama Tirtha, a place, then Mallikarjuna Tirtha, then Ahobilam Narsimha, then Siddhavat, Trimat, Skandashetra, all these people, all these places he went. And then we discussed till verse number 43 today, last time. So we'll continue from there. In the last section, we heard how Mahaprabhu met a devotee of Lord Ram. He was chanting the names of Lord Ram always. After meeting Mahaprabhu, he was transformed and he started chanting the names of Krishna. So on the way, Mahaprabhu, as he is going to various holy places, he is making millions and millions people devotees, Vaishnavas. And Mahaprabhu had this weapon of his beauty. Gosaira Saundarya Dekhi Tate Premavesh Sabe Krishna Kahe Vaishnav Gaur Sarvadesh. And they gave up all their philosophies. Nija Nija Shastrograhe Sabai Prachanda Sarva Mata Dushi Prabhu Kore Khanda Khanda. South India was full of various philosophies. Tarkik, Mimamsaka, Mayavadi, Sankhya, Patanjala, Smriti, Puran, Agam, all these various philosophies. Everybody would come and present their philosophy. Sarva Mata Dushi Prabhu, Mahaprabhu would defeat all of them. And he would establish the process of devotional service everywhere. No one could defeat him. Hari Hari Prabhu Mate Korena Pravesh. Mata Vaishnav Prabhu Kaila Sarvadesh. All of them, they would be defeated. Hari Hari Prabhu Mate Korena Pravesh. They would give up their philosophy and they would start chanting the names of Krishna. They would become Vaishnavas. Hari Hari Prabhu Mate Korena Pravesh. So that's how Mahaprabhu, he defeats all these various philosophers and various philosophies and transformed all of them into wonderful devotees of the Lord. There were a group of people. No, they were Buddhists. They were all non-believers. They would not believe in Supreme Lord. They were atheists, basically. And they heard that there is a great Vaishnava sannyasi, Sri Caitanya. He has come and he is transforming people. They became very angry. They came with great pride and they wanted to argue, I wanted to defeat Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the leader of all these, the Buddhists, they were all Buddhist people. The leader of all these Buddhists, he was a very learned scholar. And to establish his Siddhanta, the Buddhist philosophy, he came and he started speaking. Kaviraj Goswami says, although these Buddhists, they are not fit for discussion, but still, it was a need of the hour. And Mahaprabhu, he spoke with them just to defeat their pride, just to destroy their pride. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Kaviraj Goswami, they are establishing such wonderful Siddhanta, wonderful way a Vaishnava, a devotee should work in this world. As we'll be moving in this world, we'll see some people, they'll be atheists, some people they'll be envious, some people they'll be innocent. A devotee should know when to debate and when to neglect, when to show mercy That is a Madhyamadikari. ईश्वरे तद अधीनेषु बालिशेषु दिशत्सु च प्रेम मैत्री कृपा उपेक्षा यह करोति समध्यमा. Madhyamadikari, he deals with four types of people in four different ways. Ishware Prem, he loves Supreme Lord. Tad Adhineshu Maitri, he makes wonderful friendship with his devotees, with the devotees of the Lord. And he shows mercy to the innocent people. Balish means innocent. And those who are envious, he neglects them. Upeksha. So it is a duty of a devotee, of a Vaishnava, to understand when to debate, when to neglect. Generally, a devotee does not want to argue and to get into all this debate. We see in the story of Rupa Goswami, and a very, very powerful scholar, Rupanarayan, he came carrying a Vijay Patra. He went to Vrindavan and came to know that Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami are two very powerful scholars here. He went and he told that you have to sign this Vijay Patra or you have to debate with me. Rupa Goswami very humbly said, oh, we are simple mendicants. You are such a great scholar. Who are we to debate with you? They just signed. But Jiva Goswami, he understood it is the humility of Rupa Goswami that he is signing. So he debated and defeated the scholar. So we have to understand when to debate, when to just neglect. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here, because he is Supreme Lord, he knew that I can transform all of these people because that was the purpose. He was traveling to South India only to transform people and bring them all up to Vaishnavism. That was the purpose why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. Mayavadi Karmanishta Kutarkika Gana Nindaka Pashandiyata Paduya Adham Keha Keha Mahadaksha Adhaya Palaya Evanya Tasabar Chuite Narila. All these people, Mayavadi, Karmanishta, Kutarkika, false logicians, all these criticizers, Nindaka, atheists, Pashandis, all the lowest among the student community, Paduyadam, they were not coming to Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu wanted to bring everyone. Jagat Dubaile Karimuyatan have come to drown entire world in this river of love of God. And these people are running away. So Mahaprabhu had this mission of transforming everyone. So now here, he is debating. Tarka Pradhan Bauddha Shastra Navamate Tarke Khandila Prabhu Na Pare Sthapite. Now here, Prabhupada writes a very important purport here. Tarka Pradhana Bauddha Shastra Navamate. The Buddhist philosophy, the cult of Buddhism, it is basically based on 9 principles. For all the philosophy of Buddhism, it is based on the 9 principles. And basically it is based on argument and logic. Tarka Pradhan. Because they don't have any scriptures. Buddhism, they don't believe in scriptures because Lord Buddha, he had rejected all the scriptures. So they are only expert in taraka, argument logic. So now what Mahaprabhu did, Mahaprabhu is not using the Vedic scriptures while discussing and arguing with Buddhists. Tarkei Khandila Prabhu. Mahaprabhu also used logic and argument and destroyed the philosophy. They could not establish their philosophy based on logic and argument. Because who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Lord. He is the source of all the logic, all the arguments. In Navadvip, he was as a small boy. He was so powerful. He would debate with people, he would defeat them, and then He would reestablish those principles, again defeat, again establish. That was the fun. Srila Prabhupada writes, Bhaktivinoda Thakur states that according to the Buddhist cult, there are two types of understanding philosophy. Hinayan and Mahayan. Prabhupada doesn't mention much about these two. He focuses on the 9 principles of Buddhism. First is, they say the creation is eternal. So that means there is no need of a creator. Creation is eternal, so where is the question of creator? That's the first thing which they say. Second, they say this entire cosmic manifestation is false. It is all mithya. That's what Mayavad also says. Brahma Satya Jalan Mithya. Mayavadis, at least they accept Brahma. Buddhists, they don't even accept Brahma. They just accept this creation. And they say creation is eternal, but the cosmic manifestation is false. It is itself very confusing type of philosophy. Third thing they say is, I am is the truth. I am. Fourth, they believe in repetition of birth and death. They believe in transmigration, but they don't have full understanding of this transmigration. Fifth, they say Lord Buddha is the only way to achieve, to understand the truth. There is no other way. And the principle of nirvana or annihilation, it is the ultimate goal. Nirvana, that is the very common word in Buddhism. Nirvana. Very, that is a buzzword, nirvana. That is the ultimate goal. That means annihilating the identity. That is shunyavad. They say after this body will be destroyed, will be shunya. Seventh is the philosophy of Buddha is the only philosophical path. They don't accept any other philosophy. Eighth, Vedas are compiled by human beings. So why we should believe in the Vedas? Because it is compiled by ordinary human beings. And the 9, they say, all these pious activities like mercy and all the other pious things, they should be done. So these are the 9 principles of Buddhism. And Srila Prabhupada, he elaborately describes and refutes all these arguments. Srila Prabhupada writes, actually nobody can understand the absolute truth by argument. Because when you present argument and logic, there is so much of word jugglery in that. One can never come to the conclusion by argument and logic. And therefore, it is not a right way to establish the truth. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he used logic and argument to defeat the Buddhist philosophy. Although it is not the best way to establish the absolute truth, but still Mahaprabhu used that only. Prabhupada writes, those who are preachers in ISKCON will certainly meet people who will present so many logic and arguments. All the preachers, they should be prepared to defeat all these arguments and establish the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Establish the Vedic scriptures as truth. And Prabhupada quotes this, Tarkei Khandila Prabhu. Mahaprabhu, he defeated all these Buddhists by tarka, by logic and argument. And then Srila Prabhupada starts refuting all these principles. They say the first principle is the creation has always existed. Well, if the creation is always existing, if the creation is eternal, then where is the question of annihilation? Because one of the principles they say is nirvana, annihilate. If the creation is eternal, then where is the question of annihilation? And then Prabhupada writes, you have a practical experience that everything in this world has a beginning, has a middle, and has an end. So this entire creation, it must have a beginning. It must end. According to Buddhist philosophy, the ultimate aim is to dissolve the body at shunya. So that means they are proposing that body has a beginning, then only it can end. How can eternal thing come to an end? So if you want to annihilate the body, that means body has a beginning. And similarly, Prabhupada writes that this cosmic manifestation is also a gigantic body. So that means if we accept that the cosmic manifestation always exists, it is eternal, so how can it be destroyed? There's no question of annihilation. So that's how, Prabhupada is refuting that this is such an absurd principle that cosmic manifestation is eternal. How is this possible? Prabhupada quotes a verse from Bhagavad Gita. He says that there has to be a creator behind the creation. And Buddhists, they don't believe in the creator. How is this possible? If the creation has a beginning, that means there must be someone who created it. And that creator must be all pervasive. Prabhupada quotes this verse, Sarvata Panipadam Tat Sarvato Akshi Shiromukam Sarvata Shrutimaloke Sarvama Vrityatishthati. Creation must exist before the creator must exist before the creation. Again, another verse Prabhupada quotes. There is material energy, there is a spiritual energy, and Supreme Lord is beyond all of them. With this, they argue that the world is false. How is this possible? This world is not false, it is temporary. As Krishna says, it is ashashvata. So Mayavadi, they also say the same thing. Jagat mithya. The world is not mithya. It is not illusion. It is temporary. Third principle they tell, I am. That's the ultimate truth. So I am means that excludes the individuality of I and you. That means they say if I am is the absolute, then everybody is the I am. Where is the question of I and you then? So if there are no I and you, then where is the question of argument? If you want to argue, there has to be two people, right? If everything is going to merge in oblivion, I am. So where is the question of argument? Then how will you establish your philosophy? It looks so very weird. So this philosophy of duality must be there. There must be individual soul and super soul. How can you say there is only I am? Everything is not one. So that's how, Mayavadam asat shastram prachannam bodham uchyate mayeva kalpitam devi kalau brahmana rupina. Lord Shiva is telling to Parvati, what is this Mayavad? Covered Buddhism. So Buddhists also say everything is ultimately going to merge in oblivion. No, the individuality is always maintained. Prabhupada quotes this famous verse from Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is telling to Arjun, oh Arjun, all these kings in front of you, they were existing in the past, they are existing now, they'll continue to exist in the future. Natvevaham jatunasam nattom neme janadipa nachaiva na bharishyama sarve vayamata param. Where is the question of beginning one? The Buddhists, they accept philosophy of transmigration. That is little good thing they have, but they can't explain everything. They have very limited knowledge of this transmigration. Fifth principle they say is Lord Buddha is the source of attainment of knowledge. Prabhupada says we cannot accept this because Lord Buddha rejected the scriptures. He rejected the Vedas. And one must accept the knowledge from authoritative scriptures. One cannot come to the ultimate conclusion by speculation. Anuman Praman is not the best way to know about the Supreme Lord. Shabda is the best way to begin. And if you don't accept the Vedas, everybody will say, I also think like this. I also have this understanding. Everybody will become the authority. Who will decide who is right, who is wrong? It will be such a hodgepodge thing. Prabhupada quotes. That's what is happening nowadays. Yato mat tato pat. I think God is like that. I think God is this. Sorry? Who is the deciding person? No one. I am the only one. I want to approach God in this way. What is your problem? That is the philosophy have pervading. Yato mat tato pat. Then Prabhupada writes about the nirvana. Buddhists, they say nirvana or annihilation is the ultimate goal. But actually, annihilation applies to the body, not to the soul. Soul is eternal. Krishna very specifically, clearly describes in Bhagavad Gita how soul is eternal. If that is not the case, Prabhupada writes, if the soul is not eternal, then why there are so many bodies coming into existence? If the next birth is a fact, then the next bodily form is also a fact. And as soon as we accept a material body, we accept that the body will be annihilated. The person accepts the body, that means the body has a beginning, so it will be annihilated also. So the body is annihilated, but the person is going to various places. He is not getting annihilated. The soul is eternal. So Prabhupada establishes the eternality of the soul. And then he says, the highest perfection a living entity can achieve is by understanding the quality of the Supreme Lord, the name, form, pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna, that's the highest perfection. Highest perfection is to give up material body and not to accept another material body. Otherwise, what is the use of this nirvana? You destroy this material body, but the soul will go and enter another material body. That is not nirvana. And then Prabhupada writes, we cannot accept the theory that the Buddhist philosophy is the only way, because there are so many defects in this philosophy. How can we accept this? Any defective philosophy, how can it be perfect? It is not the right philosophy. So therefore, we can't accept this Buddhist philosophy. The best philosophy is the Vedanta philosophy. The Vedanta is not written by any person of this world. Vyasadeva, who is the avatar of the Lord himself, he has written all these scriptures, and it has no defects. That's why it's called as Apaurushaya. Then Prabhupada writes, according to Buddhist cult, Vedic scriptures are compiled by ordinary human beings. No, it is not the case. Because the Vedas, they were given by Brahmaji right in the beginning of the creation. And Brahmaji also heard this in the beginning of the creation. Who spoke to Brahmaji? Brahmaji didn't create these scriptures. He didn't create these Vedas. It was given to him. So somebody must have given him. Who is that person? Tene Brahmaridaya Adikavaye, that Supreme Personality, he gave the scriptures to Brahmaji, revealed in the heart of Brahmaji. And then Prabhupada describes the ninth principle. Buddhist philosophy says that all these pious qualities like mercy, they should be practiced. Well, mercy is a good principle, but it is not the absolute principle. Mercy is very relative. What is mercy for one person may be cruelty for others. Prabhupada gives example. To a sick person, if somebody is having loose motions and he is given rasgulla and rabadi, be seen as a mercy. But for a sick person, it is cruelty. So therefore, we have to understand mercy is a not absolute principle. It is a relative principle. It cannot be practiced always. Prabhupada gives another example. If there is some subordinate person, you can show mercy to him. How can you show mercy to a superior person? You cannot show mercy. You can just accept mercy from a superior person. So that's how Prabhupada, he refutes all these 9 principles. Prabhupada says real mercy is to preach Krishna consciousness. बौद्धाचार्य नव प्रश्न सब उठाइला दृढ़ युक्ति तर्के प्रभु खंड खंड कोइला. Bauddhacharya नव प्रश्न सर्व उठाइला. He raised all these 9 principles. But what Mahaprabhu did? Dridha yukti tarke, with very strong logic and argument. Khanda khanda kaila. Mahaprabhu, he broke all these arguments to pieces. And when all these scholars were defeated, people they were gathered to see kya chal raha hai, oh, this argument is happening. In those times, just like now, hotspot prime activity is cricket. It attracts millions. In the times of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the favorite activity of everyone, all the scholars, was debate. Everyone would come to see what is happening, how one is defeating others. Thousands of people were there assembled and they all saw all these scholars, they were defeated. They all started laughing. All these philosophers, all these Buddhists, they were ashamed. Srila Prabhupada writes, the atheists may be very expert in mental speculation and arguments, but these so-called philosophers will be very easily defeated by Vaishnavas if they are firmly rooted in their convictions. So there is one thing to have the knowledge, technical knowledge of the philosophy and have a very strong hold over the philosophy. More than that is the firm conviction is important. To the extent one has faith in these principles, faith in the scriptural injunctions, to that extent they access the mercy of the Lord. Otherwise, it is not so easy to defeat Mayavad and Buddhism. So therefore, unless one has unflinching faith, it is not so easy. So as a practitioner of Krishna consciousness, we have to be very expert in knowing things, where is what, but just knowing is not enough. Just knowledge is not enough. We have to develop the skills and values also. We have to develop wisdom also. That wisdom will come when we serve the Lord, serve the devotees of the Lord. Then the knowledge will become realization. Then the right things will come from the mouth in right situations. Yatsevaya bhagavatah kutasthasya madhurvishah ratiraso bhavetti prapadayor vyasanardanaha. Vidurji is telling to Maitreya, oh Maitreya Muni, you have given me so much of wonderful knowledge. Such instructions you have given me. all those instructions will become realizations if I serve you. All these people, they were laughing. All the Buddhists, they went away. They could understand that Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a Vaishnava. They had not accepted still defeat. They had not accepted Supreme Lord as all in all. They were still having that revengeful attitude. They returned home very unhappy. They started plotting against Mahaprabhu, what to do, how to destroy him, how to destroy his faith, how to destroy his Vaishnava principles. They brought a plate full of untouchable food, all meat and all the untouchable. And they presented before Mahaprabhu and told him that this is Mahaprasad of the Lord. Prabhupada writes a very important purport here. Prabhupada writes, the Vaishnavas should not accept any food offered by a Vaishnava in the name of Mahaprasad. This should be the principle of all Vaishnavas. When Mahaprabhu was asked, what is a symptom of a Vaishnava? How to identify who is a Vaishnava? Mahaprabhu says, Asatsang Tyagi Vaishnavachar. Give up all these asatsanga. And asat means company of a Vaishnava. If a Vaishnava, if a non-devotee comes and he gives something in the name of Mahaprasad, we should be very careful that we should not accept it, because Prabhupada writes a simple philosophy, simple understanding. If somebody is not a Vaishnava, he will not offer food to the Lord. Then how it will become prasad? The Vaishnava will not offer anything to the Lord. So how it will become prasad? Prabhupada writes, sometimes the preachers of Krishna consciousness movement, they have to accept some food in the house of people who are not devotees, but they should make sure that it is offered to the Lord. Otherwise, they should not accept it. Only if it is offered to the Lord, then it can be taken. Otherwise, as a principle, we should not accept. Prabhupada writes another very important point. Even if a Vaishnava cooks without any fault, without onion garlic, but because he has not offered to Lord Vishnu, it is not prasad. So these are the ideal principles. Prabhupada again writes, a Vaishnava may be a vegetarian and a very clean cook, but because he cannot offer Vishnu the food he cooks, it cannot be accepted as Mahaprasad. Simple principle. Of course, Deshakala Patra, we have to understand the principles and try as much as possible to apply it in our lives. We should never take the advantage of the flexibility of Krishna consciousness. Personally, we should be very, very strict in these principles. Just because chalta hai, ले लेते हैं, oh, without onion garlic wala de raha hai. No. If a prasad is available, however, whatever may be the quality, we should only prefer prasad. Of course, again, time, place, circumstance, situation, our circumstances, they are always consideration. Then, Mahaprabhu, as soon as this plate of untouchable food was offered to the Lord, immediately, suddenly from somewhere, a very huge, large bird appeared. The Garudaji appeared. It took away the plate in its beak, flew away, dropped all the food upon the Buddhists, and then threw that very huge, large plate. And that plate landed over the head of these teacher of the Buddhists. तेरछे पड़िला थाली माथा कटी गेला मूर्छित हइया आचार्य भूमिते पड़िला तिरछे पड़िला थाली. The plate just landed on its edge and hit the teacher of these Buddhists. Matha kati gela, and the head was cut. And because it was a huge plate, very heavy plate, Murchit Haya Acharya Bhumite Padila. The teacher became unconscious, fell down. All the disciples, they started crying, shouting, ha ha kar kori kande sab shishyagan, sabe asi prabhu pade loila sharan. Ha ha kar. It was a great uproar. All the shishya, all the disciples, they were crying. They all understood that they have committed a great offense. They all immediately came and took shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They understood he is not an ordinary person. He must be the Supreme Lord. The disciples, they became surrendered to Mahaprabhu first. Tumita Ishwar Sakshat Shama Aparad Jiyao Amar Guru Karaha Prasad Tumito Sakshat Ishwar. They understood the glorious position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please forgive our offense. Shama Aparad. Jiyao Amar Guru. Please have mercy on us. Shama Aparad. Please forgive our offenses. Bring our spiritual master back to life. Please help. Please show mercy. Prabhu kahe sab kaha Krishna Krishna Hari. Guru karne kaha Krishna naam uchcha kari. Mahaprabhu has a standard protocol for everything. He tells all these disciples. Prabhu kahe sabe kaha Krishna uchcha kari. Krishna Krishna Hari. Chant Krishna, chant Hari. Guru karne. Go to the ear, go near the ears of your Guru and loudly chant Krishna Krishna Hari. Guru karne kaha Krishna naam uchcha kari. Loudly chant. Toma savar Guru tabe paiva chetan. Sabe Bauddha mili tare kore sankirtan. Mahaprabhu told, then your Guru will come back to consciousness. Sab Bauddha mili kore Krishna sankirtan. All these Buddhists, all these hundreds of disciples, they started doing Krishna sankirtan. That was the power of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu induced them to chant the names of Krishna. Guru karne kahe sab Krishna Rama Hari. Chetana Payacharya bole Hari Hari. Guru karne kahe sab Krishna Naam Hari. All these disciples, they were loudly chanting Krishna, Rama, Hari. And hearing such loud chanting, Chetana Payacharya, this Guru, he came back to consciousness. And he also started chanting. Chetana Payacharya bole Hari Hari. He also came back to this consciousness and understood that I am saved by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Prabhupada writes, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he describes that all these Buddhist disciples, they were actually initiated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When these Buddhist disciples, they were chanting in the ears of their Guru, they were not Buddhists, they were Vaishnavas. They had already accepted Mahaprabhu as their Guru now. Now this Buddhist Guru was not their Guru. Now Mahaprabhu was their Guru. They had already accepted Mahaprabhu as Guru. So they were disciples, they were Vaishnavas. And because now a devotee was speaking, that had the power. Prabhupada writes, one point to note in this regard is the spiritual master of the Buddhists did not initiate his disciples. His disciples were initiated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So earlier, he was Guru and all these were disciples, but now all these disciples were the Guru and the Guru became disciple because they got initiated first and now they are initiating their Guru. Sabe Karna Mule Kore Krishna Nam. So all these disciples and the Guru of Buddhists, they were all now chanting. People were astonished. People were amazed to see such wonderful transformation. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Mahaprabhu disappeared. Nobody knew where he went. He continued his journey to various places in South India. He went to Tirupati, Trimalla. He saw the beautiful deity of Tirupati Balaji. Prabhupada in the purport describes the history of the Balaji temple and how this is the most opulent temple. Thousands of people visit and hundreds of and lakhs of rupees donations is being made. Mahaprabhu. Then from there he went to Venkata Hill. And there he took darshan of Lord Ramchandra at the temple. He offered obeisances, prayed, chanted, and danced. From there, he went to Pana Narasimha, a very famous deity, also called as Panakkal Narasimha. This deity, he's offered sugar water and honey. This deity is there in the Mangalgiri town. And it is said that whenever Panakkam is offered, the deity takes only half of it. And then a sound comes that indicates that Lord is satisfied, just like the burping sound. This Panakkal Narasimha is there in Vijayawada district. Prabhupada describes some of the stories about this temple. There are around 600 steps to reach this temple. It is said that in this temple there is a huge conch shell kept. This conch shell is supposed to be the conch shell used by Lord Krishna himself. Mahaprabhu chanted and danced in Kirtan. Everybody was astonished to see Mahaprabhu dancing in such ecstasy. From there he arrived to Shivakanchi. He took darshan of Lord Shiva. And there he converted all these devotees of Lord Shiva into Vaishnavas. This Shivakanchi is basically Kanchipuram, also called as Banaras of the southern India. From Shivakanchi, he went to Vishnukanchi. And there he took darshan of the main deity and many other deities. He took darshan of Varadaraj. The Vishnukanchi is is at some distance from Shivakanchi, around 5 miles away. From there, he went to a place called as Trikalhasti. Trikalhasti is a very famous place where the deity of Lord Shiva is there. He took darshan of the deity of the Lord, offered obeisances, chanted and danced, offered beautiful prayers. From Trikalhasti, he went to a place called as Pakshi Tirtha, or it is also called as Tirukadi Kundam. The deity of Lord Shiva is there at this place. It is said that the deity of Lord Shiva, it is because it is located at a hill called as Vedgiri. Therefore, he is called as Vedgirishwara. It is a very age-old phenomena that whenever the pujaris they offer all the prasad to all the living beings and all the birds they come, the two birds they come every day to take the offerings, to take Mahaprasad. And they are coming since time immemorial, they say. From Pakshi Tirtha, he went to another place called as Vriddhaloka or Sri Mushnan. At Vriddhaloka, the beautiful deity of Shweta Varaha is there. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took darshan of the Shweta Varaha deity, offered beautiful prayers. From there, he went to a place called as Chidambaram. There he had darshan of Lord Shiva. This Lord Shiva temple is the deity of Lord Shiva is called as Akash Lingam. From there, he went to Shyali Bhairavi temple. Shyali Bhairavi's temple is a temple of Durga, and the temple of Lord Shiva is also there nearby. It is said that one time a young boy came to this Lord Shiva temple, and he was so beautiful, small boy. Goddess Durga appeared and gave her own breast milk. So that is the deity of Shyali Bhairavi. Then Lord went to another place called Gosamaj. There he took darshan of Lord Shiva. Then from there he went to Vedavan, another deity of Lord Shiva. So basically, Mahaprabhu went to hundreds of places, thousands of places. Kaviraj Goswami himself tells how many places Mahaprabhu went in South India. Nobody knew. I am just taking the names of few of them, Kaviraj Goswami writes. From Amritlinga, he went to another place called as Devasthan, another temple of Lord Vishnu. There he talked to so many Vaishnavas from Sri Sampradaya. And they all were very happy to have darshan and association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. From there, he went to a place called as Kumbhakarna Kapal, also called as Kumbhakonam, current days Kumbhakonam. There, again, he got darshan of Lord Shiva. From there, he went to a place called as Papanashan, and after going to all these places, he went to the famous, beautiful, large temple of Sri Ranganath. He reached Ranganath temple, Sri Rangam. Srila Prabhupada writes in detail in this purport about Sri Rangam temple. Sri Rangam temple lies in the district of Tiruchirappalli. It is one of the largest temples in India. Actually, it is the world's largest functioning Vishnu temple after Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat is the biggest Vishnu temple in the whole world in Cambodia. But it is not functioning. Sri Rangam temple, it is the largest functioning Vishnu temple in all over the world. Actually, the entire city is the temple. It is a temple city. So Prabhupada writes, it has 7 walls, and the roads which are surrounding these walls, they are named. Every road has a name. The road of Dharma, road of Raj Mahindra, road of Kulakshekar, road of Alindana, Tiruvikrama, Tirupidi, and Yavalidan, Indana. All these different roads are there. This temple was founded by a great king before the reign of Dharmavarman. And in that king, in this palace, in this temple, many celebrated kings have stayed. Kulakshekar Alvar, Alabandar or Yamunachari, they have stayed there. There is another great personality, Sudarshanacharya. Who is the Sudarshanacharya? Sudarshanacharya is one of the descendant of Kuresha. Kuresh is a very wonderful disciple of Ramanujacharya. Kuresh and Dasharathi. Kuresh was a very rich person, very wealthy Brahmana, and he was a very charitable person. And he was so much attached to giving charity, he gave everything in charity. and himself started begging. So much so that when he would give charity, even Lakshmi Devi would come to see her, to see him giving charity. Quresh was such a wonderful disciple of Ramanujacharya. The story of Quresh is another wonderful story. His son was Sri Rama Pillai. His son was Vag Vijay Bhatta. His son was Ved Vyas Bhatta or Sudarshanacharya. So all these great personalities, they have stayed in this temple of Sri Rangam. In this temple, the goddess of fortune is called by the name Andal or Goda Devi. She is one of the 12 alvars of Sri Sampradaya, and she emerged from her childhood. She was attracted to Ranganath. Her father, he asked, whom do you want to marry? She said, I want to marry Supreme Lord Vishnu. And his father was amazed. What to do? He showed him various deities, the picture of various deities, the paintings of various Vishnu deities. And as soon as she saw the beautiful deity of Ranganath, she was blushed. She was attracted to this deity. And ultimately, she was brought in palanquin to Ranganath in Sri Rangam. And as soon as she entered the altar, she merged in the deity of Sri Ranganathji. So that is Anda. Prabhupada talks about another Alvar, Tirumanga Alvar. Tirumanga Alvar, he was a king, but then he gave up everything. Another story, wonderful story of Tirumanga Alvar. He had 4 disciples. Tirumanga Alvar, he wanted to make a huge temple for Sri Ranganath. That time the temple was not so big. He went on to so many landlords and rich people where nobody was giving sufficient donation. And he was thinking what to do. I want to make huge temple, but nobody is giving donation. 4 people they came and they became his disciples. They had mystic powers. One had the power to open any lock. Other had the power to catch the shadow of anyone and stop him. Third person had the power to debate with anyone and mesmerize him and just capture all his attention. Fourth one had the power to walk over water. So they made a plan. They thought, ये लोग ऐसे तो देंगे नहीं. Better to steal their property and use that property and wealth to make the temple of Lord Ranganath. So this person knew how to open the locks. He went and he opened all the locks. And as the guards, they would be running after another person who could catch the shadow. He would catch the shadow of these guards. And then he would talk to them and he would mesmerize them. And then all these 4 people, they would go near the ocean and they would go on the island. And the person who had the power to walk over water, he would take all these other and they would cross the river. That's how this Tirumanga Alvar, he built all this wonderful temple. All the remaining 4 walls, only 3 walls were there. When the Sudarshan Acharya, he was an old man, a very, very sad thing happened. That was the time of Mughal invasion. And all these Muslim rulers, they started attacking all these Vaishnava temples. They killed 1,200 Vaishnavas. Somehow, to protect the deity of Ranganath, they shifted the deity to Tirupati. There it stayed under the protection of another king. After 3 years, again the deity was brought back to Srirangam. And Prabhupada writes, in this temple, on the eastern wall of the Ranganath temple, there is an inscription written by Vedanta Desika. And he describes all the story of how Ranganathji was taken to Tirupati and then again it was brought back. So that's how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reaches Srirangam. What happened in Srirangam? Wonderful stories. Mahaprabhu stayed for 4 months in Srirangam. So that we'll be discussing next time. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Any questions anybody has? Okay, there's a question. Buddha is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord. His appearance is mentioned in scriptures. How come his philosophy is rejected? Yeah, because Lord Buddha, he rejected the scriptures. So anyone who rejects the scriptures, he may be Supreme Lord, but we don't worship him. We accept him as Supreme Lord, but we don't worship Lord Buddha. So that's how Lord Buddha is not worshipped. That's the stand of the Vaishnavas.
Thank you, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Chaitanya
Hare Krishna,
ki
Prabhuji.
jai, Shri Krishnadas
Dandavat
Kaviraj
pranam.
Swami ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.